Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome back to Foothill Paint Fabrication. As you can see, we're back on the 1950 Chevy truck cab, the 5-window. I've been doing a lot of work off camera, just chasing down little spots all over this thing, which seems to be the theme on this cab. Just when I think I got them all last night, I was just about wrapping up for the evening, and I found another one right here. Just a little dent or ding right there. So we got that filled. It needs to be sanded before we move on. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick tour and show you a little bit of what I've been doing, get a little update, and then we'll get that sanded, and we're going to get some spot priming done. So a little quick update video on the cab, and so we can get some of these repairs done. All right, let's just start right up here. So I did quite a bit of sanding right here to feather out all this paint, multiple layers of paint right here. Here's that little dinger I found yesterday when I was finishing sanding this up. We'll get to that in a minute. So we want to make sure this is as feathered out nicely as possible before we put primer on. The primer then will bridge all this and allow us to blend this in so you'll never even see it. Then the louvers, these louvers. So when I straighten, as you can recall from that louver video, when I straightened it, it chipped the paint on one of them. And so I couldn't just feather that out. I didn't want to fill it. So I went ahead and stripped these down to bare steel, re-straightened a couple of them, made them look even better. And then I sprayed some etching primer on it last night. So they've already been scuffed, so they're ready for prime. Along here, we just did some more sanding and had a feather edge everything around the louvers, of course, because we have so much paint. And then on the door jambs, little bit of work here, trying to get rid of scratches and dings, feather edge some stuff. I did some more work here. Up in here where I said I wasn't going to do it, I went ahead and filled these areas, you know. Then around the back here, yesterday I sprayed some etching primer as well, where we had sandblasted that, and I took a paintbrush actually and I painted the etching down inside that groove to make sure it was deep down inside there so everything's protected. And then over here on this side, we just did a lot more sanding, some feather edging, working in the door jamb. The door jambs have been most of the work to getting those ready. And just like on the other side, I went ahead and did this. There's a pucker right there from when it's stamped. So we did all that, and that's where we're at right now. So hopefully we'll be able to get some spot primer on this thing and get all these repairs done. Okay, like I said, I was just going over some sanding last night, and I felt a little hoop-de-doo right here. So I'm going to go ahead and I just roughed it up with some 80 grit, put some glazing putty on it. It's not that deep. I kind of overfilled it to make sure I got the whole thing. And to do little spots like this, I'll try to use the little tiny blocks. That way I don't end up with big sand scratches out here. I end up way more than I even started with. So I got a kind of piece of 80 grit here that was on the DA that I wore out. So I just peeled it off, folded it in half. And we're just going to kind of block this out here real quick. Okay, I just went through the paper here, just 80, 120, and then now 320, and knocked that down. Feels pretty good. There's a little bit of chunkiness right here where we're going from the different layers of paint. The primer is going to take care of that and help us bridge it and then give us a nice substrate to flatten all this out. So, but it feels good. Now inside this little vent area right here where the vent pops up, I did quite a bit of extensive work down inside here. There was a lot of rubber cement, some silicone on the other side that had to be dug out. So, you know, I did spend quite a bit of work in here just scraping and wire wheeling and everything just to make sure this was prepped. Even though another gasket's going to be glued down in there, there's a lot of bare steel exposed. So I want to make sure that's clean back down so when we get paint back on here that it's sealed back in, and that way everything that's glued down to it will be glued down something strong. And you know, water's going to sit in here. That's just the way it is. There's a drain, but water's going to sit down inside here. So you want to make sure that you know, you seal everything up tight. Before we can get to some spot priming, so we can finish up all these repairs, I'm just going to take a little Scotch-Brite pad and go over all the areas I sprayed with etching primer last night. I kind of used up what was left in the gun just to hit some of these areas. And then I'll probably just go over all the repairs with the Scotch-Brite pad, make sure everything's good and clean with the air hose and the Scotch-Brite pad just to blow everything off really well, kind of map out what we're going to spray, and then we'll get to some spraying. So let me get this thing cleaned up real quick, and then hopefully we can mix up some primer and get this thing spot primed. All right, I'm going to mix up about, I don't know, maybe half a quart, a couple of cups. I believe should cover everything. And these cups here, you know, these are the ones I get from Smart Final, a whole sleeve of them. They're super cheap. They don't have graduations on them, but for primer, they work good, or other stuff, you don't have to have graduations. And it is a quart, so it gives you an idea about where you're at. And I'm going to mix up a couple of cups, I think. I'll just guesstimate it. Now, I reuse these after they already have primer in them. It's hardened primer. It's catalyzed. It's okay. So I reuse these cups until they get so built up inside or they crack or something, then I chuck it and grab a fresh one. But that's the way I do it. You can use a fresh one every time, but I go ahead and just keep reusing them until they get so thick. Back in the day, I used to use coffee cans, and the coffee cans got so heavy and thick they weren't even a quart anymore. So I'm going to get this mixed up, and we'll get some in the gun and get to spot spraying. Okay, let's start up high here. All right, we got all the repairs onced over just to hit it once. You can see right there that one came out really nice. One coat on the sandblasting area, a little repair there. So what I did, I just went around and just hit all the spots where I'd done body filling or heavy sanding, just to make sure that it got a really good coat. There's plenty of material left in the cup. I could have mixed up 1 cup of this stuff and probably had enough to do all this. So we're going to be able to hit some of these other spots really nice where we had some really funky stuff going on. And then we're going to hit this really nice. The gun is acting up. That's that new gun I've been testing out, and it's not working out. It's not a very good gun. So we've got it mixed up. We're going to go ahead and keep using it. And as soon as this flashes off, we'll get a second coat on everything. All right, while I was waiting for that to flash off, I realized I'm going to have way more primer than I really need. So I went ahead and masked all the holes on the firewall. So we'll go ahead and get that in this area here pretty good. And we'll just see how far it goes. I want to double coat all the repairs for sure, at least 2 coats. And then we got to hit a lot of this feather edge stuff around these windows to make sure that we can sand that out nice and smooth and it seals all those multiple layers of paint. So let's throw the respirator back on and finish this thing up. All right, we're looking really good. Got everything coated very well. I got a little tiny bit left in the cup. I'm gonna let this flash off. I see a couple of spots with some heavy sand scratches that I wanna hit, like right in here, right in this area. I can see some heavy sand scratches. So I wanna go ahead and get another coat right in that area. Other than that, it looks good. So the priming part is done. I want to get another coat in here too. You can see it where the drastic drop off from paint down to steel. So I'm going to want to lay some more in there too. I don't want to put body filler in there. I just want to spray it. So I'll probably put a coat in that, let it flash, put another coat on that, and then we'll probably have to do it again once it's sanded. But all in all, it's looking pretty good. I did down in here because of the feathering. And you can see that lacquer or whatever it is bleeding through. So I want to seal those edges up and make sure they're nice. Even though the bed's going to sit up against there, I still want it to look good. The door jambs all look good. All the repairs look good. See how we smoothed all that out? Now it looks so much better now. Just smoothing that out. Probably taken way more time than I should have. But it looks a lot better. The louvers look great. Just got a feather edge them. They look nice and straight and smooth. And the firewall, I was able to double coat that area right there. And then up here where we had all that different layers of paint being feathered out. So I'm going to spray a little bit more, clean the gun, and then we'll have to wait till tomorrow to start sanding. Okay, that just about wraps up this video on getting the spot priming done on all the repaired areas on the cab. We got a couple of really good coats on everything, so next time we'll get some block sanding and some dry guide coating, see really how well we did on these repairs. Thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint and Fabrication. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so, and give me that thumbs up if you like what you saw. It helps promote the channel. We'll see you on the next one.